Hello and welcome back to this third video on the ACT Math Practice Test. This is the one from the 2015-2016 version. We're doing questions number 11 through 15, just talking about different things about them and going through and solving them. And here we go. So first up, students studying motion observed a cart rolling at a constant rate along a straight line. The table below gives the distance d in feet. The cart was from a reference point at 1 second intervals from t equals 0 seconds to t equals 5 seconds. Which of the following equations represents the relationship between d and t? Alright, so we already know that this is a constant rate, which means it's going to be linear. So you could plug this in your calculator, but it's actually going to take you longer to type it in than it would be just to look and see, hey, look, it's going up by 6 every single time. So that's going to be my rate of change or my slope. So that means the answer is either B or C. We just got to figure out the initial point, which, hey, look, they also give us that. Our y-intercept is 14, so the answer is C. All right, next. The length of a rectangle with an area of 54 square centimeters is 9 centimeters. What is the perimeter of the rectangle in centimeters? So for this one, you need to be careful because what it's asking for isn't the first thing that you get to whenever you calculate it. So we've got an area of 54 and a length of 9. Okay, so most people will look at this and they'll say, well, if this is 54 and this is 9, then this has to be 6. Oh, look, that's an answer choice. It must be F, but that's not the case because they're not looking for the other side. They're looking for perimeter. All right, so we got to figure out what all the sides added up would be. So 6 plus 6 is 12, 9 plus 9 is 18, 18 plus 12 gives me 30. The figure below, C is the intersection of AD and BE. If it can be determined, what is the measure of angle BAC? Alright, so we've got vertical angles here, so we know that this angle right here is going to be 45 degrees. Alright, and then there's 180 degrees in a triangle total, and we're looking for BAC. That's this angle right here. Alright, so I'm going to go to the calculator real quick. I want to do 180 minus 35 minus 45, and I get 100. So my answer is B, 100. Okay, Antoine drew the circle graph below describing the time he spent in school one day. His teacher said that the number of hours listed were correct, but that the central angle measures for the sectors were not correct. What should the central angle measure for the core subject? What should be the central angle measure for the core subject sector? Well, currently, that's half the circle, which is 180 degrees. And we got to figure out what it should be. So the first thing we got to do is figure out how many hours he's at school. So we've got 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. All right, so he spends 4 hours out of the entire 9 hours that he's there in his course subjects. So that's going to be a little bit less than half. So this should be a little bit less than half a circle, which is less than 180. So I can already tell that my answer is going to be 160. But if you want to be a little bit more comfortable with your answer, if you want to see it on, calculate it out, I'm going to multiply that by the number of degrees in the central angles of a circle, which is 360 degrees. So I do 4/9 times 360, and I get 160. Last one for today. This month, Kami sold 70 figurines in 2 sizes. The large figurine sold for $12 each, and the small figurine sold for $8 each. The amount of money he received from the sales of the large figurines was equal to the amount of money he received from the sales of the small figurines. How many large figurines did Kami sell this month? Alright, so this is one of those questions that I would most likely skip and come back to later because it involves the systems of equations, and those tend to take a little bit more time just because they have more parts to them. So let's go ahead and break this down though and see what happens. We've got 70 figurines in 2 sizes, so that means I'm going to have X be my small figurines. I'm going to let Y be the large figurines. Alright, so if I take 70, that's the total number. So that's just going to be the number of small plus the number of large. And they say that the amount of money he received from the sales of the large figurines was equal to the amount of money he received from the sale of the small figurines. So if I take the price for the large figurines and multiply it by the number of large figurines, that's going to be equal to the price per small figurine multiplied by the number of small figurines. So now we have two different equations, and we can solve this using systems. I'm going to solve it using substitution. So I want to look at the large figurines, so I want to get rid of the x in one of my equations. Okay, so this one looks like it's going to be pretty easy to solve for x and then plug it back in for this x. So I'm going to start by getting x by itself down here. So I get x is equal to, let me reduce this real quick, so I get 3 halves y. Now I'm going to take that value and I'm going to plug it back in for x right there. Alright, so I'm taking this and I'm putting it right there. So I get 70 equals 3 halves y plus y. So 3 halves y plus y gives me 5 halves y. So I get 70 equals 5 halves y. Now you can type that in the calculator right now if you want, or if you want to break down the fraction and divide by 5 and multiply by 2, that's fine. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do 70 divided by 5, which gives me 14 times 2 is 28. Okay, so basically what I did there was I did 70 divided by 5 halves. Alright, so that's the video. Study hard. Good luck on the test. Hope you have a good one.